North Carolina, who I thought was one of the better teams in the country and still is, loses at home to Clemson. Man, first of all, Clemson, they've only won there. This is the second time in like 64 years that they won at North Carolina. I mean, to me, that is insane. And I know Clemson doesn't have great basketball and UNC does, but only twice in 64 years you can win on the road to a team that you play every year? Whew, that's crazy. That is crazy. But I think that kind of shows the gap between North Carolina and maybe in a Clemson and how good North Carolina's been for so long. But the one thing, Clemson also has a really good team this year. They had a little struggles about the middle, I would say the beginning of January to about the middle of January. They lost some games in a row once conference season started, but Clemson's got a good team. So while it's an upset, and it is, North Carolina is they had a bad game. They just had a bad game. Clemson played well. It's okay. But North Carolina, I got a feeling, is going to be there at the end. As long as they can defend, which somebody over on TikTok said Baycott couldn't defend. Yeah, he got cooked last night. He got cooked. I mean, that's one of the reasons he's not in the NBA, because he can't guard. And you got to be able to do something, either step out and hit jump shots or guard as a big man in the NBA, and he can't do that. So we'll see what happens. But I like North Carolina. I still like their team, but don't sleep on the Clemson team. I think Clemson is an NCAA tournament team. I believe they are. But it was a good, big upset, though. But Clemson should have beat Duke. What was that, 2 weeks ago? And they got duked. They got Cameron Indoor. They got one of them Duke calls at the end of the game. Clemson would have won that game, should have won that game. But they got, let's just call it, hosed. And Duke is not better than UNC. They just played, and it was a beatdown. So stop it. So how do I like South Carolina? South Carolina should have been ranked 2 weeks ago. And you know they should have been ranked 2 weeks ago. Have you ever heard of anybody going from unranked to 15? It usually doesn't happen. So South Carolina is a good basketball team. So a good basketball team. And I'm glad, because South Carolina, it's like they got this big arena and they want to be good in men's college basketball, but they've never really been good. They had that 1 year under Frank Martin where they went to the Final Four, but hell, before that, they hadn't won an NCAA tournament game since 1971. Whew. Which is wild. But college basketball is starting to heat up, man. It is starting to heat up. There were some crazy games again. Big 12 action last night. Just Big 12 by far. And I don't know if you guys are paying enough attention or paying attention at all, but the Big 12 is definitely the best college basketball conference in the country. And it's not even close. It's not even close. I like the ACC. I like the SEC. I like the Big East. I like college basketball as a whole. But if we are being honest, and I don't even think, I mean, you can lie to yourself, but the Big 12 is just the best conference. It just is. You know, I love that Kelvin Sampson stood on business last night and got thrown out. The officiating in college basketball has become absolutely insane. His guy got almost mugged right in front of the official. They called nothing. He just walked out on the court and said, "What the hell are you guys doing? Enough is enough. Enough is enough." I love it. I love it. But every night there's somebody wins that you don't think it. For instance, Texas came off of playing well, gets beat at home by Iowa State. BYU, ranked, playing well, goes to Oklahoma, gets smacked around. Texas Tech is good. Texas Tech is falling off because they can't rebound the ball. They go on the road and lose to Baylor. That's not horrible. But college basketball, I love college basketball. things are going better for college basketball. People, I think we got to get over the fact that everybody's a one and done if you're good, and just, hey, man, we just like who we like. It's not the greatest basketball anymore. I'll admit that, because you don't have the best players. They don't stick around long enough anymore. So I can absolutely admit that. Part of that's the NBA's fault, is because the NBA, for some reason, if you're a sophomore or a junior and you're not in the NBA, somehow they think by 20, if you haven't peaked, you're not any good. It just, that's insane to me. It's just insane to me. But it is what it is, man.